आप सरगुजा डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हैं छत्तीसगढ़ में, वहाँ के महाराजा के बारे में बताइए।
He has the world record of killing more than 1200 tigers during his lifetime.
तो अगर कोई जंगल में टाइगर सामने आ गया तो हम क्या करें बताइए?
तो टाइगर को ही करना है, आप तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते। टाइगर मूविंग इन गुड़गांव, why do you consider it as a problem? Elephant, unlike tigers, they are not territorial. One forest guard was taking selfie with the wild elephant in Bareilly district and died because elephant trampled. Let one day all human beings disappear from this planet. Nature will be taking its own care.
Tiger, lion, leopard, cheetah, snow leopard, jaguar and puma. These are the 7 most graceful big cats in the world. India is home to the first 5 and the country has achieved remarkable success in ensuring the conservation of at least 2, tiger and lion. We recently embarked on a project to reintroduce the cheetah into the wild in India. And one person who knows everything there is to know about the big cats is Dr. SP Yadav. An officer of the Indian Forest Service, he is the Director General of the International Big Cat Alliance. The establishment of the alliance was approved by the Cabinet on February 29, 2024. The aim was to lead the conservation of the big cats globally. Dr. Yadav is with us today to talk about the alliance, his love for the tiger and his passion for conservation. Dr. Yadav, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on our show at 4 Parliament Street.
Thank you.
You're the head of the International Big Cat Alliance. I'll start by asking you a little bit about the organization itself. But before you get into that, out of the big cats, which cat impresses you the most and why?
At the outset, many thanks for inviting me. This International Big Cat Alliance was recently created. In fact, the Cabinet approved it on 29th of February. And it's for conservation of 7 big cats. 5 big cats which are in India, like tiger, leopard, snow leopard, lion and cheetah. Cheetah, earlier it was extinct and now we have cheetah. And 2 other big cats which are found in Americas, North and South America, like jaguar and puma. So this alliance has been created for conservation of these 7 big cats. And they cover, why it was created. They cover more than 50 million square kilometers of area which is rich in biodiversity.
These 7 cats?
7 cats. There are 95 countries, 95 range countries where these big cats they inhabit. So by saving these big cats, you are conserving the biodiversity over 50 million square kilometer areas and saving the big cats. And the big cats, not all cats are doing good. Take example of tiger. In 2010 at St. Petersburg in Russia, the first time all tiger range countries, heads of the government, they gathered. They came out with a tiger conservation declaration, global tiger conservation declaration, and they said that they will double the tiger number by 2022. First time for such a one animal, all heads of countries and all stakeholders, they gathered together and thought how to arrest the rapidly declining population. Tiger is endangered. And despite so much efforts by the international leaders, in recent past 3 countries lost all their tigers.
Which are those?
Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos.
Okay.
And like India, Nepal, Bhutan and Russia, they're doing well in tigers, but in all other countries, either the population is declining or static, or in 3 countries has gone extinct. So this was the reason that there was a need to emphasize on, especially there was a need of a particular organization which will focus in big cats, and that's why India took the leadership and launch of International Big Cat Alliance. In fact, it was launched by Honorable Prime Minister on 9th of April when we were celebrating 50 years of Project Tiger at Mysore. But the cabinet approval we got on 29th February. You said that which animal excites me? Of course, it's a tiger. Tiger is charismatic, it is powerful, graceful, it's like monk, it's like king. So it always excites.
Why do you say it is like a monk?
If its stomach is full, it won't look at left and right.
अगर पास में उसके एक डियर भी बैठा हो तो वो
तब भी अटैक नहीं करेगा. So that's the nature. Do no greed, only need. They hunt only for the need. So that's why I call it monk.
What about other cats? कुछ और हैं जिनमें predatory instincts बहुत ज़्यादा developed हों?
In fact, they are all predators. They all sit on the apex of the food chain of pyramid.
Right.
They are all predators, like leopards. आपने देखा होगा, पहाड़ों में especially, or they're highly adaptive, but they're not like tigers. Snow leopard की बात करें तो they're on a snow and means mountains में ही होते हैं, और the nature is once they enter into ranch, they kill all sheep or goats, whatever they are, while their need is only one. Similarly, if you see jaguar, normally they are in Americas, Amazon और उस तरफ के जंगलों में होते हैं. They must have seen them hunting on crocodile and all. So their nature is different. Puma is different. Cheetah also, it's a very fragile animal.
And tiger is the largest of the cat.
Tiger is largest and most powerful. Right, and solitary animal.
So the tiger will mate and then just male tiger will disappear.
Right. It remains with the female for mating purpose only, and then they have their own territory. And as far as cubs are concerned, they live with the mother for 2 to 3 years.
So by 2 to 3 years they become adults?
They become adults, they learn, and they're all learning. Their school is mother. Like how to kill, how to protect the kill, how to stalk, and all jungle warfare, they learn from the mother. And once they grow up, they need to establish their own territory.
And how large is the territory that they carve out?
Territory depends upon the availability of prey, availability of water, availability of shelter, means tree cover. But normally we have seen that from 20 kilometers to 200 kilometers. Like area like Corbett Tiger Reserves or Kaziranga, the territory is very small because prey density is very high. But when prey density is very low, if you see Russia, तो वहाँ पे 1,500 square kilometer की एक territory है because prey is very, very low.
So that's why the sighting is very difficult for tiger because they are solitary.
It's a matter of chance. And when you are passing that same moment, tiger will also pass. Then it's a matter of chance.
We have had a lot of success with Project Tiger, and our lion population is also very stable, the Asiatic lion population. What about other countries? What is the situation of lions? And you mentioned obviously tiger in some countries it has gone.
Tiger, like we are a global leader, more than 70% wild tiger population is in our country, and we are doing very well. 1973, when Project Tiger was launched, we started with 9 reserves and roughly covering around 18,000 square kilometers. But now we have 55 tiger reserves with more than 79,000 square kilometer area. So the coverage has substantially increased, so has the tiger population. Tiger population is also doing best in the world. Like every year, 6% annual population growth is there in India. Tiger, I have said, but see, position of African lion, it's really worrisome. Like the population is rapidly declining because of poaching, because of habitat loss, because of infrastructure development and all these things. Similarly, cheetah population also rapidly declining in African countries.
You said habitat loss. Is it because of urbanization? And,
yeah, absolutely. And habitat loss is deforestation, urbanization, and you need land for development and all these things. So
this human-animal conflict we are seeing in a lot of places, even in India. अभी हमने हाल ही में देखा जो wolves का जो attack हुआ है, केरला में elephant attacks होते हैं human habitation में. So how do you view that? What is the solution, especially about this wolf, which is such a gruesome story?
Wolf, it is one of its incident. It's not regularly happening. So there must be some rabid animal or something like this, and this which has generated this kind of problem. Otherwise, normally it doesn't happen. And I think last 10 years, I think this is the first such kind of incident. So the forest department is looking into it. They are surveying. They will identify the problem animal. Like sometimes what happens, this rabies kind of infection or CVD, canine distemper virus and all, this disease, they change the behavior of cats.
Okay.
They lose fear with the human beings और उनका behavior पूरा change हो जाता है. तो हाँ, they become problem animal.
तो जो यूपी में जो wolves का जो है वो
this might be and unless you catch animal, analyze all their samples and diagnose properly, and that's needed. कई बार कैसा होता है, tiger becomes man eater जो कहते हैं वैसे doesn't happen normally, but hunting is not easy for tiger. Out of 10 attempts he gets success in 1 attempt, and there is a lot of energy utilized in hunting also. So whenever they get aged, they are not able to hunt in the wild. So they look for easy prey. So they look for cattle, like canine, broken canine, or paw if it is damaged or broken, or या कुछ उसमें कांटे लग गए या समथिंग लाइक दिस. तो जब एनिमल को प्रॉब्लम होती है तभी वो अटैक इस तरीके करता है. टू ह्यूमन बीइंग, टाइगर्स दे डू नॉट आइडेंटिफाई एज देयर प्रे.
Okay.
You know, whenever if you see, if you analyze all these cases, like people working in the farm, when they are sitting, tiger confuses with deer and all.
Because you're sitting.
Sitting, right, crouch position.
तो अगर कोई जंगल में टाइगर सामने आ गया तो हम क्या करें बताइए?
तो टाइगर को ही करना है, आप तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते. इनफैक्ट सारी थ्योरी जब टाइगर सामने आ जाए तो फेल हो जाती है ना. प्रेजेंट कुछ नहीं कर सकते आप इनफैक्ट. बट इट्स ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल कि पेड़ है तो आप उसमें यदि चढ़ सकें तो. बट इफ यू ट्राई टू रन, देन इट विल चेज.
Because it will think that you are a prey because you are running.
Right.
So Yadav ji, this is something about the cheetahs. So what is the current status of negotiations with South Africa, Kenya and Namibia regarding translocation of cheetahs? Are we expected to sign any MOU with Kenya in the near future?
Cheetah, we brought 8 from Namibia and 12 from South Africa, right? And right now there are 12 Indian-born Indian cheetahs, and there are 12 adults. You know? So now 24 is the population in Kono. But as per our cheetah introduction plan, and we had said that every year 12 to 14, 12 to 16 cheetahs we need to import for the next 10 years to have sustainable, viable population in our country. So now the discussion is on, negotiations on with South Africa and also with the Kenyan government. Recently there was an election in South Africa, and there was minister not appointed, and so they have already identified the surplus animals. In South Africa, the cheetah population management is a meta population basis, means they keep in different sanctuaries and as per the carrying capacity. So when the number increases beyond the carrying capacity, either they export or they euthanize. Because they cannot sustain. As per my information, they have already identified 12 to 16 surplus cheetahs. Either they should give it away to any other country, including India, or they have to otherwise kill them. So this is the situation, and negotiations on. Once probably their proper minister is appointed, I think South Africa will be able to send cheetahs here. Kenya, the MOU process is on. India has already, as per my information, India has already finalized. Now the Kenyan government has to approve it, and then there will be signing and
right.
एक थियरी निकली थी व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी में कि चीतास जो हैं दे आर नॉट एबल टू अडेप्ट हियर बिकॉज द सीजन्स इन द सदर्न हेमिस्फीयर आर ऑपोजिट. And because they were brought here during winter, when it was summer there, they were not able to adapt or something like that. Is there any truth to that?
In fact, it's partly truth, and I mean they're partially correct. In fact, northern and southern hemisphere there is a difference. तो यहाँ पे जब summer था, जब rainy season था, hot and humid weather था, तो they started developing hair coat, which was the winter in that area. और विंटर कोट जैसे यहाँ पे हो गई, हॉट और ह्यूमिड है, तो थोड़े से बहुत भी जैसे कोई भी खरोच भी लग गई और फिर उसमें मैगट इन्फेक्शन लाइक फ्लाइज दे गिव देयर एग्स एंड ब्रीड, एंड तो सेप्टिसिमिया, and this was the cause. But now we have find out the answer. Like now there are medicines available to treat them, like prophylactic medicines.
Okay.
So they are being given. So it's not a big deal. Only thing was identification.
Right.
And initially, even the African experts or Namibian experts, they were not aware that this will happen. So we'll be caught.
We're caught unawares a little bit.
But now, right, things are okay. Like no death has taken place because of this.
You learn from experience.
Yes, absolutely. In South Africa also, they had lost all their cheetahs. They imported from Namibia. It took 20 years to establish population in South Africa. Take example of Sariska tiger reserves. We lost all tigers in 2005. It took almost 15 years for tiger from India to Sariska tiger reserves to establish, and now the population is stable. But it took 15 years.
We got them from Ranthambore.
Ranthambore tiger reserve. We airlifted from Ranthambore and introduced here. But it took some time to acclimatize into new habitat and start breeding and all. Now the population is 40 plus. Now we can say that population is stabilized. But it took time. It's not instant coffee.
There was this curious case of Pawan, the cheetah in Kuno who died, and it was found dead in a small river. I mean, on the edge of it, and the initial report said that it died due to drowning, and then there was speculation that it was poisoning. So, what have you found out? What is the cause?
It's a speculation only, that poisoning, because the doctors who did the postmortem, like whenever poisoning takes place, there is oozing of saliva or some secretes from nose, from mouth. There were no such symptoms.
But can a cheetah drown?
It rained very heavily on that night, and there are nalas with boulders and rocks. Now, what happened, we do not know, but the symptoms, they say that it died because of drowning only, because there was no other reason, no mark on the body or where you can speculate that there could be other. Postmortem report done by 2 doctors, they say that clear-cut drowning case.
So, why is there so much secrecy around this cheetah project?
Who says secrecy?
Madhya Pradesh Forest Department.
No, we never say secrecy in tiger project.
Not so much, but here they don't even reply to RTI questions.
It's only perception. I don't think there is any secrecy. Everything is out. Annual report is always there. And it means cheetah or snow leopard, nobody asks that snow leopard there is secrecy. There is nothing in media on snow leopards, but you don't say that secrecy. It's only perception. Let me tell you, in the independent India, cheetah introduction became so much hit from media point of view that never before for any animal there was so much publicity. Never before. In such a short time, and go any part of the world, they will talk of cheetah project. So I think this hype, that's the reason.
Speaking of that, does that fit with the idea that India is taking the lead in conservation of the 7 big cats? I mean, why should India do it? Because India has succeeded?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that tiger, we are global leader. Asiatic lion, we are doing very well. The population is doing well. In other parts of the world, it's rapidly declining. Cheetah, we demonstrated that successfully intercontinental wild-to-wild translocation can be done. And now it's doing very well. Leopard conservation, we are one of the largest range country in the world. Snow leopard, we are doing very well. So out of 5 big cats, we are doing great. And with that too, with 1.4 billion population. In Western country, if you see their style of conservation, or they just can't believe that why, and how it is possible in India. There is tolerance of community. It's deeply imbibed in our social and cultural ethos. All wild animals, we are, once related to religion, we worship almost all wildlife, all form of lives. There the culture is anthropocentric in Western world. In Eastern, in our country, like it's nature-centric.
So should we expect the other 2 also, puma and jaguar, anytime in future?
No. Because we don't have the habitat. Our law, no.
We never had also those 2.
No. Our law doesn't allow exotic animals to be released in the wild. So, and this is not the intention. We want to help from our tiger experience, lion experience, leopard experience to these countries. Like Peru has requested us. They are facing problem in human-jaguar conflict. So they have requested International Big Cat Alliance to support their, or like build their capacity in handling this conflict situation. So based on this big cat behavior and our experience, we will help other countries to Americas.
So there are reports that indicate that Kuno and Gandhisagar wildlife sanctuaries are facing challenges due to a high leopard population and a low prey base. So which this could delay the arrival of more cheetahs from Africa.
Really, I do not know. And who are these experts? In India, there are no cheetah experts, right? Nobody has worked with cheetah conservation. Nobody, no scientist. Nobody has worked with cheetah conservation. Right now, 2 years, our field officers in Kuno, they have worked. They have the real experience with cheetah. Otherwise, India में cheetah है नहीं तो काम कौन करेगा? और all the experts are so-called experts. First myth was that cheetah only survives in grasslands. And everybody started shouting whether Kuno is suitable or not. Last cheetahs were shot in Korea district or erstwhile Sarguja district from which I belong. Chhattisgarh. This all salt forest. It's all dense salt forest where cheetahs were there in the wild. Gandhi Sagar जो sanctuary है, there are rock paintings where cheetah pictures are there in the rock paintings. And it means cheetah was inhabiting there. And if you see cheetah habitat, it's a very adaptive animal. Like it's found in snow-cladded areas, and then mountain forests, scrub forest, even coastal areas you will find cheetah. So you said that leopard issue and the prey. Leopard issue is not an issue. Cheetahs in South Africa and Namibia, they survive with lions and leopards. What is a big deal? And they have a special requirement, they know how to survive. So saying that till date, in 2 years, not a single cheetah has died because of conflict with the leopard. So it was a myth कि leopard cheetah को मार देगा. अरे फिर अफ्रीका में कैसे survive कर रहा है? Africa में they are surviving with lion and leopards. So why to create fuss here? About prey population, so number of cheetah will be dependent upon the prey population only. If prey population cannot support more number of cheetah, we will not release more cheetah there. Yeah, that is in our hand, that we can control.
आपने बोला कि आप सरगुजा डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हैं छत्तीसगढ़ में, वहाँ के महाराजा की एक इंटरेस्टिंग कहानी है, उसके बारे में बताइए।
महाराजा सरगुजा डिस्ट्रिक्ट इज फेमस, द ओल्ड सरगुजा डिस्ट्रिक्ट इज फेमस फॉर 2 things. The then Maharaja Sarguja, he has the world record of killing highest number of tigers, more than 1200 tigers during his lifetime. and last cheetahs were shot in Korea, as I said. That is also the old Sarguja. Now it is Korea district, but old Sarguja. I belong to that district.
And he killed them not for any particular reason, but
no. At that time, and I mean, before 1969, tiger hunting was allowed. Permits were issued. There were hunting blocks. So it was allowed legally. So the rich and powerful people, they used to call it game or sports. They used to invite guests from abroad and all. They do shikar.
And it was an unequal fight most of the time.
Oh yes. And in fact, they used to drive with the drums and everything, animals close to the machan.
Why did it take humans so long to realize that this is wrong? Till 69, you are saying that it was allowed?
Till COVID happened, then you realize the importance of oxygen. Right?
True.
So it is like that. When there is, when there will be shortage of oxygen, they will realize the importance of trees. When the oxygen will be short, like we will be having oxygen cylinder with us, then we realize importance or value of oxygen.
Sir, tell us about the oldest cub. Is there any plan to release him in the wild soon?
It is a female, daughter of Jwala. So they have given Jwala Mukhi. Its name is Mukhi. And it's doing very well. Now it has almost close to 1.5 years, more than 1.5 years. Started hunting naturally. It's being taught. The rewilding is being done. So small animals like rabbit, hare, wild hare is hunting successfully. It's learning by looking at her mother. There will be definitely a release plan, but not now. Their maturity, once they become adult, then only will be released, not as a cub.
We learned through reports that the mothers and cubs will be released December onwards.
There is already a steering committee, they will be decided. I would say that it is not wise to release mother with the cubs in the wild.
Will we be recapturing them again during the monsoon season like we witnessed this time and we gave them prophylactic medicine?
Yeah, right.
Will there be a need of giving prophylactic medicine again?
If it is possible to give prophylactic medicine in the wild, then there is no point of recapturing. But if you're not able to give them prophylactic in the wild, then there is no other option to
How do you give the medicine? You tranquilize them and then apply the lotion?
Right. Tranquilize.
When do you plan to bring the cheetahs to the breeding center in Bunny grasslands in Gujarat?
Negotiations are on. Once the donor country agrees, then means winter season is best season to bring these cheetahs. So work is also going on, and maybe next week or so I'll be visiting those areas, bunny areas, to assess. For this, we are talking with Kenya, the government. Like I said, that successful first reintroduction in the world has been done in India, Sariska and Panna tiger reserves, and an unparalleled example. There is no other country even could replicate it till now. Cambodia has lost all the tigers, and now they are seeking help of India, and also International Big Cat Alliance in supporting them.
Just to talk about the Asiatic lion, so the Supreme Court had said in 2013 that you should relocate the Asiatic lions to Kuno. And it's this hugely debated kind of issue because, of course, the cheetahs are in Kuno, and there is this constant fear that if there is some kind of an epidemic, the question is, will the entire kind of Asiatic lion population be wiped out? So is there any plan, should the Asiatic lion be relocated to another state as well?
First, the question is why we wanted to translocate lion. Because you rightly said that if there is an epidemic, then the population will be wiped out, like it happened in Tanzania where 90% population wiped out. And when this epidemic spreads, when there is no geographical segregation of the population. If it is naturally taking place in Gujarat, like from 15,000 square kilometer coverage, now the coverage has gone up to 30,000 square kilometer. The population is spread, they are not mixing each other. So naturally the geographical isolation is taking place. Barda sanctuary, more than 250 kilometers away from Gir. Naturally this first male went there, started inhabiting there, then female also there, now the cubs are born there. So geographical isolation is naturally taking place. Where is the use or where is the need of human intervention? Why humans should intervene in such cases? If the population had been confined to one area, then the question was of epidemic and death. Now there is no question of. So naturally, nature is taking care. So right now, I don't think there is a need for.
So basically, you're saying things have moved from 2013
yes, absolutely,
to now.
Absolutely.
In the 11 years.
I said from 20,000 to now more than 30,000 square kilometers. That is the coverage of. Now the population is not confined to one place. So there is naturally the geographical isolation. So there is no need right now. Why should human being unnecessarily intervene in this? Cambodia is a tiger range country. Earlier there were tigers. Why Cambodia lost all the tigers? Because of poaching. So habitats is already there. I visited Cambodia. I have seen their area, Cardamom Hills, where they want to bring tigers. It's more than 15,000 square kilometer completely inviolate area. They took me to the chopper and I had overview, and then we went to the. So 15,000 square kilometer completely inviolate means no human beings. The problem was status of protection, which now they have addressed. Now they have established patrolling camps and put men on the job. The next problem is of prey base, sufficient prey base. So that was lacking. With that we were not satisfied.
But would you also be concerned about poaching, because these countries are very infamous for producing Chinese medicines, which invariably use wildlife?
No, you are absolutely right. That's I said. That's what I said. They have already upgraded their protection system. Okay. They have created. Now there is a coverage of everywhere where they can patrol and watch the position. So as per assessment, the protection status has gone up. But that's always concern. Like poaching is the biggest threat to tiger conservation, not because there is a demand in a country, but demand in other countries, consumer countries. Every part of tiger is being used either in traditional medicines or.
Given our success in India with the tiger conservation, how would you rate the chances of Tiger Cambodia project taking off and succeeding? Would you say it's 50-50 or is it 100%?
No, it cannot be. It cannot be quantified in that way. Like initially, the tiger numbers will be proportionate to the prey availability and the protection. Like, risks are everywhere. Like Sariska, the first reintroduced male that died because of poaching by poisoning by the local people. So when risk will be everywhere. But that all depends on the commitment of the government, commitment of the communities which are living there, and the commitment and passion of the wildlife officers which are executing the project.
But we will be monitoring it very
yes,
closely.
Absolutely.
Making sure that it succeeds.
We will be hand-holding with them, right, at every step.
Mr. Yadav, in June 24, NTCA had sent letters to tiger reserves asking them to expedite the relocation of villages and villagers. So the process still is slow. There are close to 591 villages. There's 64,000 families still there. And this move has also drawn a lot of criticism and flack from conservationists. So I would like to know your thoughts on it.
First, in our country, there is a FRA. You are fully aware of that. Like, if a tribal people doesn't want to go, nobody can shift him. So FRA has to be honored. The rights has to be settled as per FRA. And if the person is willing to move, then nothing wrong. But it has to be voluntary. That is the precursor or the first condition. That any shifting of the people from the core area has to be on voluntary basis. That's what FRA says, that's what Wildlife Protection Act says, under which NTCA has issued direction.
Sir, I want to take the man-animal conflict question forward. India is pursuing a very ambitious 500 gigawatt renewable energy target, and that's where the conflict also arises, because we are going into areas where the wildlife is, and as we expand solar energy parks and wind energy parks, there's a greater threat to them. That's what is being said. There's a great example of Great Indian Bustard. How do you resolve these kind of conflicts, addressing the energy security as well as the wildlife needs?
Energy security is also very much needed. Climate change has to be addressed because fossil fuel problem, everybody understands that. And we need solar energy. We need development. We need employment. We need growth. But there has to be a balance. And balance between development and use of all these natural resources. I have been to Abu Dhabi, where Hubara Bustard Breeding Center is very famous. They are producing more than 40,000 chicks everywhere, rewilding them, and then releasing the wild. They're not using any bird diverter. They're not using any undergrounding of cable. Even then, they are successful in bustard conservation. Why should we not follow the same model? They're not using any bird diverter.
40,000 chicks per year.
Bustard. Yeah,
per year.
Right. With artificial insemination and using modern technology. We should aim towards that.
The data which was presented in the monsoon session in Parliament, it says that around 600 elephants died during the last 5 years, and including poisoning, poaching, many other reasons, unnatural reasons. And the number of human deaths stands at 2,853. This is massive. Why haven't we been able to reduce this number? This number is increasing by the year. And we have made several interventions. Why haven't we been able to reduce these numbers, both in terms of elephant numbers and human deaths?
Elephant population is growing in the country. Now I think the population would be around 26,000 to 30,000. We are the largest Asiatic elephant range country in the world. Population, because of our conservation effort, population is doing well. Elephant, unlike tigers, they are not territorial. And they move to long distances, long area, they need corridor connectivity. And when they move, and if there are disturbances, and there are problems. And despite so much awareness, if you see most of the human deaths, if you go deeper into the cause, like I come from Sargoja district, and there also a lot of people die because of elephant conflict. And if people go and start worshipping in front of elephant, some people, they start taking selfie. One forest guard was taking selfie with the wild elephant in Bareilly district and died because elephant trampled. So means elephant is very gentle animal. very gentle animal. But if you start cracking like gunfire, firecrackers, noise, start throwing stones and all such behaviors, then the elephant is so powerful and it runs very fast, and you cannot imagine, like elephant looks big, but the speed of when it runs, it's around 40 kilometers per hour. So it will chase and kill. So I would say that though there are guidelines, a number of guidelines issued by Government of India for handling human-elephant conflict and all, the execution is a problem. Like in Chhattisgarh district, they have started a very good thing that every day at around 6 o'clock, the local FM channel, they give 5-minute bulletin on elephant movement. Like where the elephants are moving, in which direction, what is the herd size, whether it is makhna, means loner or herd, and whether the calves are there or so alert system is very good. So early warning system is always good. Prevention is always better than cure. SMS system, like whenever a herd is seen, that then immediately alert is sent, all the concept. So awareness is a big thing. If people are aware of their safety and all, so it won't happen. But again, a lot of things are needed for raising awareness, establishing early warning system or that kind of thing. At the same time, their habitat needs to be improved. A lot of things need to be done, like summer days, the water availability has to be ensured and all these things.
So Yadavji, you're a veteran Indian Foreign Service officer. So do you think during the course of your career, have there been any instances of political interference, or is wildlife management is immune from politics?
Maybe my luck, I always found the politicians much better to understand our problems.
35 years Indian Forest Service, you have been associated with wildlife. Do you sometimes feel that wildlife is more superior than human beings, the way we conduct ourselves?
I was thinking that let one day all human beings disappear from this planet. How would be the life? Means life would be fantastic.
Will flourish.
Flourish. Nature will be taking its own care. No pollution, no plastic waste.
Just a few days ago, there was this instance of this tiger wandering from Sariska, walking 125, something like that, to Haryana. And then this was the second time in, I think, 8 or 9 months that it had done so. Then we have all these various instances of, like, last year there was an instance of a tiger and nobody could understand which corridor it was from. It landed up in Mau, in a cantonment town. Then every now and then these stories of these leopards, you're seeing them in Ghaziabad, in Gurgaon, in, Delhi colonies. So what does one do? How does one address this problem?
So tiger moving in Gurgaon, why do you consider it as a problem?
That's
It's not the tiger's problem.
So it didn't hurt anyone. It just went, explored the area and came back to Sariska. So it's not a problem. One should, but unnecessary, there should not be human interference. Like whenever human-tiger conflict takes place, the biggest problem is crowd management. Means thousands and thousands of people, they surround the forest staff, the tigers, start shouting, and somebody keeping a stick and whatnot, all nonsense activities. So keep human beings away from such situation, the problem will not be there. Like as far as leopard problem is there, leopard is highly adaptive. Take example of Borivali in Bombay. There are, if you see the CCTV, you will find leopards in the night moving. They come to human habitation for picking these dogs. But there is no as such conflict unless you start doing something unusual.
So it's like you're saying that time has come for this kind of coexistence? I mean, because they are coming into urban kind of settlements and leading to panic, and therefore, like you were saying,
is it human urban development is encroaching upon their habitat or their area?
Obviously, we've encroached.
So we need,
that's why.
Yeah, we need to provide their safe habitat. And if we encroach upon the forest areas, urbanized forest areas, fringe areas, scrub areas, maybe revenue land, where these animals will go. That has to be respected.
We see that in the African countries, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Botswana, they have these really elaborate wildlife park system where it also allows for tourism in a sustainable way. You can actually go into the parks and see the animals in their natural habitats, and it's also great revenue for the countries. Do you support that kind of tourism and that kind of ecosystem, and should India also have something like that?
So African tourism cannot be compared with the Indian national park tourism in Indian national parks or sanctuaries or tiger reserves, because there is huge differences. Like their areas are huge, 10,000 square kilometer, 40,000 square kilometer, 20,000 square kilometer. While in our the biggest tiger reserve, Semlipal and all, 2,700 square kilometers. So we are not competing destination for African countries. So we prefer ecotourism, which is non-consumptive of resources. But then we cannot have that kind of tourism in our country because our parks are small.
But it's a paradox that African countries, like you said, the geographies are so vast and the number of tourists is so little that everyone has the space to go and see in a luxury tent as well as in a normal resort also. In India, the problem is different. The sizes are so small, but the population is so large and everyone wants to go and see the animals. So should we just completely cordon off these areas in India?
No, like in tiger reserves, we have a concept of core area and the buffer area. Core area, it's meant only for conservation purpose, breeding of tigers and all. While 20% core area is allowed for ecotourism, and buffer area is all open for tourism. So the ethos or principle of management is conservation oriented. We see tourism as a byproduct.
Okay, so that's not our primary goal.
And while in African countries they see tourism as the main thing, for that they are saving animals.
But you don't have a problem with their system?
No.
And our system is also...
Their site specific. Cannot be replicated. They cannot replicate Indian model, or we cannot replicate their model.
Tiger census parameters were changed a few years back. There was some experts, some few of them actually questioned the parameters that you changed, because of which the tiger population suddenly got inflated. Do you still hold your ground for those parameters to be adopted?
Till 2002, the entire methodology was census. We called it census. Census means head count. That too on the basis of footprints, that pug marks, which means if it is soft soil, there will be shallow footprint. If it is wet soil, there will be deep. So same tiger you will identify as two tigers. So method was highly skewed, it means faulty. On that basis, we could not come out with a number. Like if two people are doing the same survey, they'll come out with different number of tigers. But what we follow now, it is camera trap method with statistical model of double sampling. This is foolproof. Like our thumb impression, fingerprints, tiger stripes are there. They never match with each other. Like unique, like Aadhaar, and unique biometrics.
The nose tiger stripe is similar.
Never. And
it's never the same.
Never the same, and like our fingerprints, and it never changes with their lifetime.
That's why they say a tiger doesn't change its stripes.
So now it is completely scientific, well peer-reviewed in international journals and accepted by the world. The camera traps are deployed in 2 square kilometer of grid across the country, across the tiger habitat. And the photographs is taken from both flanks. Automatic cameras are deployed and photographs are taken. Whenever tiger passes, for 30 days the camera is deployed there and the photograph is taken. And all these photographs are collected with help of AI. They are separated, and then there is a software called extract and compare. With that basis, individual identity, also with human intelligence, they are established. Now it is foolproof. There is no question of doubt.
Yadavji, the Indian Forest Service is a premier branch of the civil services which concerns itself with wildlife. Is that the only avenue for wildlife enthusiasts to be involved in this field, or are there other areas also, other places?
So Indian Forest Service has a history. It was Imperial Forest Service, started in 1884 by German foresters, and then British took it. In 1920, Indians were allowed to join. Before that, Indians were not allowed to join. So in 1920, it became Indian Forest Service. 1935, this was discontinued because there was some amendment and forests went to the state subject and all. But again, in the independent India, 1967 or 66, this Indian Forest Service was created as a part of All India services like IAS, IPS, and third service was Indian Forest Service. Indian Forest, then it is continuing since then as the Indian Forest Service. Now we have glorious history. This provides excellent opportunity to live with the nature, work with the nature for the nature, and have a life in the wilderness. But for others, this provides an excellent opportunity. But others, like there are a number of NGOs working in this field. Mm-hmm. If you are a researcher, if you are a scientist, then Wildlife Institute of India, and there are a number of such research institutes which are working that. But through NGOs like WWF, WTI, there are a number of NGOs which are working in the wildlife conservation, and people can join there also and they pursue their interest and hobby.
I was just asking because, a very limited number of people get into civil services, maybe about 20 per batch every year.
Now it has been, you're right, it was earlier very low number of recruitment, but now it is around 80.
80 per year, okay. But that's
it's
still
one of the toughest competition.
Yes. Great. Yadavji, thank you so much for talking to us. This was really an amazing conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.